Welcome to Motorhome Rehab Ranch. Do you have a GMC? Would you like to have one or just learn more about them? You're in the right place. And a special shout out to my ranch hands that help us support us by paying for the videos and asking questions and working on their coach. If you'd like to be a member, a ranch hand, at the end of this video we'll talk more about that. We're specifically devoted to the GMC Motorhome built from 1973 to 1978 only, okay? So let's get into something that may help you understand a little bit more about the GMC. What do you think? Hey guys, it's Jim Downs with Motorhome Rehab Ranch and Co-op Motorworks. Differential. One thing for sure, sucker's heavy. It's heavy, okay? What's a differential? Well, in a car, on a regular car, rear-wheel drive car, if you look at the back, you see that big bump in the middle, right? That's the differential. Well, on our front-wheel drive motorhomes, differential's on the front wheels. Differential is bolted to the back of the transmission. There is no drive shaft. It's just bolted right to the back of the transmission. Your drive shafts, the split shafts, come off of here and over there. And it takes the drive from going this way and turns it that way. That's what a differential does. Engine's driving this way, wheels got to go that way. This thing has a bunch of gears in it to make it do that. Now, the original gear ratio on a GMC was 307. And also they had 307 in the Tornados, which means that, 3.07 to 1. Every time this turns 1, this goes 3.07. Well, it was a good overall gear for the Tornado. And what they did on a GMC, think about this. The next year was overdrive, and everybody realized that overdrive was better, right? So the gear ratio of a 307 actually took our 3-speed automatic transmission and put third gear in the overdrive range. So you could get up to 65, 75, 80, 90, you know how it was. Well, what did that do? Third gear was overdrive. Second gear was third gear, right? First gear was somewhere below like 8 miles an hour, which made everything from about 8 miles an hour to 25 or 30 just a pig. You couldn't go anywhere. Everybody's mad at you and all that stuff. But they didn't have a 4-speed. They didn't have an overdrive. So they actually geared the sucker so it ended up where it wanted to be. Well, today, you're driving an antique motorhome, for God's sakes. Don't go 80 miles an hour. I'm sorry. Just don't do that. So it's all about the power range of the motor. What RPM is the power range in of the motor so it's making the most efficient torque? And does the gear ratio put the motorhome at 60, 65, or 70 when the motor is in its power band? Make sense? The way you do that is with the differential. Change the gears, brings the RPMs up higher so you actually use first, second, third. So first gear, well, it's going to stop at about 8 miles an hour normally. You can change that with a remodulator, but say 10 miles an hour. And then from 10 to 20, second gear's kicking. That's where you want it to be. And then third gear, put on the cruise control, make a ham sandwich, and just get there, okay? Don't get in a hurry. Why would you want to get in a hurry driving? That means you drive less. Think about that. All right, so anyway, the differential, you can have gear ratio changes. When you're doing a transmission, the differential's on the ground. It's about 2 to 4 hours to R&R differential by itself, maybe 5 and a couple of cuss words. When you're doing a transmission, you can bolt it right on the back of your new transmission and go up and not have much trouble at all. You'd pull off the pan to be sure there's no metal in it, okay, because there's a lot of torque going off in there. If there's no metal, you put a new gasket on it, put the pan back on it, flatten off these bolts because you don't want it to leak, okay? And these things do not break. Some guy says, well, do I want to put a new differential in? I say, well, Is it making noise? Is it like whining or something? No. Is it dripping? Are the seals leaking? No. Are you having a hard time going up a hill? I mean, you got to put it in first gear and try to push it? No. Put a differential when it breaks. You don't need one, okay? But if you're the type of person that maybe you're pulling a car or a boat all the time, and you know, you don't want to be the slowest thing on the road going up a hill, or you'd like to take off on a traffic light and kind of irritate the guy in the 5.0 Mustang, get a differential. 370 is become the differential to go to. I actually have a 355, and I did like the 355, but the 370 with the right gear ratio, with the right cam profile and all that, really, really lights up. Now, we also have, if you remember the 10 Soldier, little 23, has a 410 gear. In other words, that's a grocery getter, okay? Well, over 60, you kind of feel bad for the motor because it's revving up a bit too much. But, hey, if that's what you want to do, go for it. You can also get limited slip. You know how all cars are one-wheel wonders, right? The passenger tire is the one that pushes. Well, they came up with a limited slip that when this starts to slip, when this starts to lose traction, this one kicks in, okay? Or when you're going down a straight road, they're both kicking in, okay? That's a limited slip. And Applied GMC in Fremont has a limited slip option that they can modify the differential. It's a lot of work. I mean, I think they get the best part of $1,000 just for the limited slip modification. And on top of that, it's about, I don't know, $1,700 or $1,800 for a gear ratio change. But this makes the motorhome viable as far as the gear ratios, as far as the pulling, as far as the speeds you want to go and things like that. And now this one is a rebuilt original 307 gear. How do I know that? Everybody wants to know, how do I tell what kind of gear I have? Well, it's painted silver. That's it? Well, yeah, pretty much. You can't really look at them and tell. But generally speaking, if you have a differential that's a gear ratio change, it probably has a special color. Like I know that Applied does theirs in blue. There was a guy in Texas that used to do his in some other color. I can't remember, maybe white or yellow or something. So if you have a differential in your coach that is painted, that means it's been out of there, other than if it's nasty blue, you know. But I mean, if it's painted, I mean, it's been out of there and somebody could have been doing something with it. You can tell your gear ratio change by a chart. You can look on the internet and find it, that how many miles per hour are you going and what are your RPMs, you can tell what your gear ratio is. Or you pull the pan off and count the gears. I mean, that's the only two ways. I painted it silver, so there was no, it's not blue. It's a 307 silver, okay? And they're heavy, you know? And if you buy a new gear, great. UPS will probably give you a Christmas card for the amount it's going to cost, but there's more. You have to ship the core back. So that's shipping twice. Shipping gets expensive. And this sucker's heavy, okay? So the differential is a very, very important part of our coach. It's a very, very important part of your drivability, longevity of the motor, many things, all right? It has 90-weight gear oil in it. When you're doing a fluids check, people never think about the gear oil. You take this bolt out right here, and if it spills out, that means there's gear oil in it. If it doesn't spill out, add gear oil till it does spill out. That's how you know that you've got enough oil in it. But if you don't know the condition of the thing, it's a much better idea to pull all these bolts off, take the pan off, clean the gasket off, and look in the pan to see if there's any metal. That'll tell you the age of the differential and whether you're going to have problems soon or not. So we do that on all the differentials or drivetrains. You do a complete fluids dump. You want to look at all your fluids. Fluid color, smell, and what's floating in it tells you a lot. All right, well look, that's about all on differentials. If you have any other questions or anything like that, give us a call. If you feel this was important to you or anything like that, you can become a ranch hand. It's $5 a month, and it helps us afford to make all these videos and to have my Bluetooth microphone here that's super cool, I gotta tell you. All the things that we're going to be doing in the future. So I appreciate you stopping by. See you next time.